How you doing? My name is Kenneth Owen Jackson III. I'm currently a wrestler at Oneonta. And a little backstory about me. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. My grandfather raised me for the majority of my life, all along with my mama and my grandmother. Had a rough growing up, but it was pretty sturdy. Me and my partner, we was up on the stage in the auditorium. We saw two of our other friends. They was already on the wrestling team at our elementary school. They was getting ready for state. He mentioned, my partner that I had class with, my partner Angelo, he mentioned that he wanted to join the wrestling team, and then I was like, alright bro, since you want to join, I'll join with you. That's really my dog. I was like, I'm going to join with him. We're going to go through the motion together, and we really going to rock out and lock in. And that's really what got me started. I know you're probably thinking, oh, he wrestled, so he's a real physical guy. But wrestling is much more than just being physical, brawling, lethargic, or a guy that's just cutting weight. He's smaller. I mean, wrestling for a lot of guys, not only just me, it's really a mental battle, especially on our day-to-day life. I know y'all might see UFC and boxing, those guys make weight every so often, like every 7 months they'll make weight. But for wrestling, we have to do this literally year round, and we are constantly making weight every weekend. Especially if you're like a D1 guy, even like some of the D3 guys, they're constantly making weight year round. And I think that takes a mental toll on some guys, but at the same time, you kind of learn to work through it and then overcome it. I know throughout my seasons, I have struggled with like just being mentally strong and kind of just working through it. But then, you know, I get my little breakthroughs every now and then where I'm just like, okay, I mentally got this, I mentally can do this. And I think that's what makes it so special, because not everybody could do it. Not everybody got the mind power or the will or the strength just to be like, oh, I can't eat for 2 days straight, but I still got to go get this workout in just so I can go make weight and wrestle and do something they really care about and love. But I mean, that's just the basics of what we do. Wrestling has helped me mentally and also in the real world in multiple ways. For one, growing up, I grew up with having anger issues, like real bad anger issues. I'm already a bigger dude. I'm a full 285 pounds, so I'm a large dude. And walking around with just being angry at the world and just having anger issues, you can't really do. And I'm full of aggression. I think wrestling gave me that outlet, especially once I lost my grandfather. I really didn't have no way to put that extra energy, because when I lost him, I was in that role of sort of becoming a man. I wasn't a man yet, but I was right about to make 15. And if you don't know, in a black household, you start to be considered a man at 15. And I was right in that role of turning that corner, becoming a man. And once I lost him, I really lost a piece of me. So I really just had a bunch of anger and frustration with the world. And wrestling gave me that outlet to let it out, but then also give me the time to reflect. And I also feel as though when I'm cutting weight, I'm also like cleansing myself and making myself pure in a way. Because when I'm cutting weight and just throughout wrestling season, I don't put nothing in my body that don't belong. Even outside of the season, I really don't do nothing that don't belong. So I really feel like I use wrestling as just like, not even a coping mechanism, but just like a way to kind of be me. And kind of just like, when I go through hard times and adversity, I take it and just deal with it and just kind of chalk it up, because like it's nothing harder than what I have to do on the mat or what I have to go through to even compete on the mat. So it really just makes life 10 times easier for me. I think it makes me feel proudful. It definitely makes me feel proudful. I'm gonna put it like that, because it's not every day you see a young black man going out and doing a predominantly white sport, especially coming from the South and where I'm from. It's not something you see too often, but I think it gives me a bunch of tools in my belt and a bunch of connections, just knowing that I'm an African American man with predominantly white friends, and you don't see that quite often. You mostly see the brother hanging with all the rest of the brothers. And Nah, I'm the brother hanging with all the white people. I mean, I'm just saying. I do. I hang with all the white people. Now, that don't mean I don't like my brothers, but you know, that's where I be at. I mean, wrestling is if you look on my team roster, everybody asks me, bro, how do you do it? I just kind of do it, bro. My teammates, they rock with me heavy. So, like, I don't see eye to eye with them all the time. I kind of, you know, I shy away every now and then, but, you know, it ain't nothing being said to where it really offend me in any way. We don't get down like that, but, you know, I just kick it with my teammates, you know. But I also look at it as I'm inspiring the other kid to be more like me. Especially like over Thanksgiving break, I got an opportunity to go home and coach, thanks to my little cousin. I got to go home, coach his high school team, and the look on their faces to see that a black guy came in to come coach them, because he goes to a public school back at home. And just to look on their faces to see a black guy at a really nice institution, and a well-spoken about institution, came home and really showed them a lot of different things. They enjoyed it, and I had a blast doing that. I think that's really what I strive to do. I strive to put smiles on little people's faces, just to give back in like my own little way. Like, I never want to like take it for granted that like, oh, I'm just a D3 college athlete, but in reality I'm a lot more than just an athlete at the end of the day. I feel as though people should join wrestling just because it's a sport that doesn't discriminate against no body type. No body type, no gender, no nothing. I feel like a lot of people gravitate towards wrestling because if you go to a high school like me, luckily I had the size, I had the height to play football in high school. I still had the size to play in college, but I chose not to. But I feel like football is more genetic driven. They look for bigger bodies, taller guys, and just guys who can put on weight and muscle. As opposed to wrestling, if you're wrestling 125, not a lot of dudes in college or just grown men in general are gonna weigh 125 pounds. So it's kind of, they have weight classes that fit everyone. And then it's also not just a male sport. No, there's also female wrestling. I've seen females go out and beat dudes to a pulp, like in ways you never would think that, oh, females can go out there and compete with a dude. Yeah, females can go out there and compete with a dude to a level that you'll be like, oh my god, like I think if I wrestle, it should give me a run for my money. And I've seen it. I'm friends with female wrestlers that I was like, oh, damn. Like, she really went out there and she stood on business. She standing on business. But yeah, I think wrestling is just a outlet for everybody. And if you're a really family-oriented type of person, I think wrestling is the best thing for you, because throughout wrestling, I've got to meet other juniors, seniors, the thirds, just from wrestling. Because for you to get into wrestling, or for kids to wrestle at a young age, either their dad wrestled, their grandpa wrestled, or their brother wrestled. Someone in their family had wrestled previously, but it's always cool to be the first one in your family to start it. Hell, I'm the first one in my family to ever wrestle. Like, nobody in my family has ever thought, oh, I would go out and get on a wrestling mat and put on a singlet, some shoes, and headgear and go out there and grapple on another dude. As weird as it may sound, I mean, hey, if you can get past the mental aspect of it looking weird, I promise you'll have a 10 times better outcome at the end of the day. And that's all I gotta say, man.